As we try to curb inflation and the Bank of Canada increases interest rates, which impact borrowing costs, are we in the midst of a housing supply crisis as well? And what are the implications either way on the Toronto real estate market and the greater Toronto real estate market? As always, all this and more in today's video. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtor Realty Inc. As always, back with another video for you guys here today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On this channel, we like to discuss all things Toronto and GTA real estate market related, buyer advice, seller advice, market trends, facts and news, building reviews, and so much more. So feel free to get in touch with me with the contact information on the screen or in the description box if you have any further questions. And if you want to do a little bit of your own due diligence before you do get in touch with me, feel free to check out my Google reviews. Simply just enter my name into Google and you can read the feedback and reviews which clients have provided. Anyways, enough of all that. Let's get to the point of today's video, which is the housing supply amidst of all these macro conditions we're dealing with regards to inflation, increasing interest rates, and a potential economic recession. Now, officially, housing inventory in terms of active listings within the greater Toronto area fell below the 10-year average this past July. And this past July is not just for July, it's pretty much indicative of the inventory levels we were dealing with in the summer. Now, this is with regards to the greater Toronto area, but it seems to be pretty much a universal trend across all the major markets across Canada, actually. And this wonderful chart that we're going to take a look at kind of illustrates that. And so far into the fall, it's not looking like we're getting much reprieve from the low inventory issue either. But before we get into why inventory was low in July, historically low, below the 10-year average, and why in fall we're looking at and what the exact inventory numbers are so far in fall, let's take a look at the exact numbers according to this chart brought to you by Remax. And when we take a look at this chart, first we see all the major markets listed up here across Canada, obviously Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, Ottawa, and where we're interested in the greater Toronto area. And this chart is good about providing information about other markets as well, but this is a GTA/Toronto real estate market oriented channel. That is where my area of expertise lies. So I feel less comfortable speaking on other markets that are not under the purview of my expertise. Nonetheless, as you can see from this chart, past July, we were looking at exactly 15,300 active listings. This is across all property types, condominiums, freeholds. And although it was an increase from the previous year where active listings were at a dire 9,700, 9,700, the 2022 figure is still lower than the 10-year average. As we see here, the 10-year average is 16,458. In fact, the last July where listings in terms of active listings available within the Toronto real estate market and the GTA real estate market was above the 10-year average would be July 2019, where we were looking at 17,900 active listings. And if we put aside the outlier year of July 2016, which was really in reaction to the NRST, the non-resident speculation tax, partially as to why that figure is very low, we see every year from July 2013, we were looking at active listings of 20,000, 19,000, 18,000, 19,000. Of course, we had a 16,000 here and a 17,000 that we just spoke of in July 2019. And this is not Toronto specific either. As we see, obviously in Greater Vancouver, it's still below the 10-year average. Calgary below the 10-year average. Now, things did not improve in August either. Here, obviously, they're using July as their study month, the month they're using as a subject. August inventory levels were far lower than July because in August we saw only around 10,000 new listings coming onto the market, which was once again low. Now, as to why this is the case, if by any chance you have not seen my content or any content online talking about where the Toronto real estate market and the greater Toronto real estate market has been at. Now, the reason supply has been low in the last couple of years can be separated from why particularly supply has been low this year. Overall, there is a housing supply issue that exists within the city of Toronto and the greater Toronto area. There's no question about that. We are artificially somewhat landlocked due to the green belt that exists. And whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's besides the point. It is a fact that the existence of the green belt and protected lands landlocks how much development can occur and how much we can sprawl out. So there is a more macro supply issue that exists separate and apart from where the interest rates are at. But when interest rates are increasing, as is the case in 2022, the Bank of Canada consecutively for a fourth time has increased rates. Most recently September by 0.75, before that by 100 basis points. Well, the higher interest rates so far in turn have caused a cooling market, but one which sellers are comfortable to not list and wait. I referred to this in one of my more recent videos where I said there is a waiting game happening between buyers and sellers, where buyers keep expecting prices to decline further, and wherein sellers, a certain set of sellers, are not necessarily under great duress to sell at any moment. Sure, it may be very difficult for most recent purchasers who might be under variable rates, but historically trends show that people are willing to cut all costs in order to be able to afford their mortgage, and selling is really a last resort option. Now, people obviously are buying and selling. I've bought and I've sold in recent weeks and recent months, but activity is very low. And this partially, once again, separate and apart from the larger macro issue of housing supply that exists within Toronto, Greater Toronto area, and some would argue Canada, contributes to the low supply, low activity, and currently there isn't really a lot of quality listings available in the market. Now, usually supply increases into fall months, and at the time of recording of this video, September 12th, we are obviously in the beginning of the fall. This is where the largest month over month or quarter over quarter change in inventory occurs. And as I said in a previous video, I do foresee occurring, as it has in the past, seasonally so, inventory increasing. But I also said in that same video, in that same sentence, I think the increase in supply month over month from summer to fall this year will be less than previous falls. And so far, actually, that prediction is coming to fruition. Now, these numbers are as of September 12th, as I said, the most recent day we have in full. But with regards to new listings, not active listings, but new listings, so far, 12 days into September, we've had 2,100 new listings available for sale in terms of freehold, and 1,200 new listings available for sale in terms of condos. Well, if we do a month over month comparison with regards to the first 12 days of August versus the first 12 days of fall here in obviously September, we see that in August, the first 12 days within the Toronto real estate market and the Greater Toronto real estate market, there was 2,900 freehold listings, new listings, and 1,500 new condo listings. So this is not an exact measure because it's only 12 versus 12, right? But nonetheless, it's not as if an explosion of listings has occurred thus far either. Now, I have noticed a little bit of an uptick in terms of buyers reaching out to me, wanting to work with me, going to see listings. Whereas on the selling side, I have not noticed that much of a uptick. It's still as was in August and July. Now, of course, my experience is not a scientific study, right? It's just very anecdotal. And in this channel, I like to combine my everyday experience as a Toronto real estate agent working with buyers, landlords, sellers, and of course, qualified tenants. I like to combine that experience with the numbers, the market trends, and the market facts. Now, to end this video quickly, on the state side of things, the CPI came out, indicated an inflation rate of 8.3%. Why is that significant for us Canadians within the Toronto real estate market, the Greater Toronto real estate market, and as you know, Canadians interested in Canadian real estate? Well, the most recent inflation stats in the US are above what was expected. As a result, the Fed will continue to hike rates as well. Consequently, as we have established on this channel and on my TikTok, go find me there as well, so will the Bank of Canada, because the Bank of Canada has a tendency to follow exactly what the Fed does. So you can expect on the Canadian side of things, surely another rate hike, maybe two. Why is this pertinent to the exact subject of this video? Well, it's important anyways, because it's a key macro condition for the Toronto real estate market. But exactly with regards to inventory, thus far, as I said, there has been a waiting game on the behalf of buyers versus sellers. I think that waiting game will continue, especially since we can, within all safety, expect more rate hikes to come. Now, none of this is an exact science. As I said, this is more of a macro outlook. People buy and sell all the time. I'm currently actively working with buyers. It all depends on people's particular criteria and scenarios. Anyways, let me know if you have any further questions. As always, this is Sam from Saberi6 Real Estate and Remax Realtor Realty Inc. Feel free to check out my most recent video where I went through 2 pre-construction projects that are launching now that I believe will change downtown Toronto. For some reason, YouTube decided not to show the thumbnail of that video, so it underperformed, but I put a lot of effort into that video, so go check it out if it intrigues you whatsoever. As always, feel free to get in touch with me with any more questions you may have. My contact information in the description box. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.